Stoneshard finally released onto early access about a month or so ago after being in development for a long time and having kind of a demo prologue. With the game in early access now, what we have here is another take on trying to kind of marry old school roguelike design with more modern day and newer elements and gameplay loops. The footage that you're seeing is from its early access and may not represent the current version of the game. But Stoneshard is a very challenging turn-based roguelike title where you're exploring kind of a low, or kind of, I guess it's called a low fantasy kind of setting as you're trying to figure out what's going on in the world, kill lots of monsters, and of course don't end up dying in the process. Now, the game opens up with a tutorial that plays very much like your conventional dungeon crawler. We have randomly generated floors, enemies, the WeGo kind of system here, and you're going to have to explore, find loot, and outfit your character accordingly. The game features a very extensive amount of loot and progression. As with games of this kind, you'll find standard weapons, swords, shields, armors, whatever, and you'll also find higher rarities that will come with specific or randomized modifiers to go with them. Your character can be spec'd in all manner of skills and varying disciplines, which in turn will unlock specific bonuses for using them. For instance, for this character here, I decided to give myself kind of the axe proficiency, which unlocks specific moves related to it that you see on the skill bar down below. Now, another major part of Stoneshard is the injury/ailment system. Old school roguelikes were known for having you to manage your hunger and your health. Stoneshard goes a little bit further, as each part of your body has its own separate health bar and injury status, as you can see there. When it gets too low, it will lower your maximum health until you repair it. You can also suffer sanity effects, which, if it hits 0, can start to cause major debuffs and will lead to insanity/game over. To recover, you'll need to make use of multiple healing and restoring items that can heal or kind of remove certain injuries based on the item itself. And as you've been seeing with the inventory, you do not have a lot of space, and there are a lot of things that can come to hurt you, bite you, stab you, infect you, burn you, and we can throw like 20 more minutes of descriptions here. Now, the look of the game, I really like it. It's not, I think, like super detailed pixel art, but it has a really nice and clean aesthetic to it, especially when we got to the game's first boss fight, who I really wasn't sure I was going to be able to beat him. And we managed to do it on our first try, with the fight kind of being semi-puzzle related, or kind of puzzly designed. And I don't know if other bosses in the game will be of similar design. The rest of the game, though, is pure old school turn-based RPG, and stats and proper skill use are going to matter. And for those of you who just play through the demo or play through the tutorial itself, the game may seem like your standard roguelike affair. But after our quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors, we're going to come back and talk about what kind of, I guess, is the real Dark Souls experience of Stoneshard next. And now for a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. Going forward, all Patreon supporters will get early access to our videos. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. If you were just going to stop playing Stoneshard. After the tutorial or failing in the opening dungeon, it may be surprising to know that that is not really the core gameplay that Stoneshard is promoting. Instead, the game itself plays more in an open world style. Following the events of the tutorial, you play a kind of your own character who's helping out the main one who survived the tutorial. And to do that, you need to perform odd jobs and earn enough money to book passage to the next area. Now, the map from what it looks like appears to be procedurally generation on New Game, meaning that every time you start a new game in Stoneshard, the map will regenerate or generate a new area. So this determines where points of interest are, what can be found in the wilderness, where you're going, etc., etc. Now, with that said, I believe the individual points of interest, the dungeons, the lairs, bandit bases, whatever, are procedurally generated in terms of their layout. I don't know that 100% from our time playing it on the stream. But from here, when the game begins proper, Stoneshard essentially plays out kind of like a Bethesda game or an open world RPG, just done in the style of a isometric turn-based roguelike. Now, right now, as I'm moving around the town, nobody's trying to attack me, we can move as fast as our little legs will carry us. But when combat starts, at any point in the world you initiate combat, it goes into turn-based mode. Now, playing as a new character, you're able to choose kind of your starting class or your starting gear, and then you are free to mix and match however you see fit based on the items that you find, the equipment, including spell books and other things that you can find in the world. Now, with that said though, Stoneshard is not without some gripes or nitpicks, at least at the version we played during early access. This, as you can see by the lovely "You Are Dead" sign, this is a hard game. And most of you watching this who decide to play it will probably die due to not being prepared for what's going to happen in the game, rather than due to misclicks or not prepared or not doing combat right. Ailments and injuries will most likely be your downfall more than just the enemies themselves. All issues or all damage out from them carry over or stay with you after combat, which means that the war of attrition is real in Stoneshard. Get too much damage, take too many injuries, and it can easily set you up for a cascading effect of not being able to fight properly, which means you're going to lose more health, which causes more injuries, which makes it harder to recover, so you take more damage and eventually you're going to die. And the game does feature permadeath difficulty if you really, really want to make things feel old school. And I do think the game could do a little bit better job of onboarding the open world aspects of it. The opening tutorial pretty much feels in a sense like its own separate game, taking place in a procedurally generated dungeon. And that once you leave, a lot of kind of the preparing or the preparation that goes into exploring is not really given to the player. And I feel like that is going to hurt the game for a lot of new players who are expecting more of that dungeon crawler exploration and discovery. And you're going to fail a lot just trying to figure out what items are necessary and what you can really make use of at any given time. Again, the injury system in Stoneshard is very robust, and taking one kind of healing item is not going to be enough if you get hit by something else. And gold and trying to buy new stuff is going to come very slowly at the start, especially since a lot of the early traders don't have a lot of money to give, even if you start hoarding swords, shields, and maces like I was doing for this character. But with that said, Stoneshard definitely shows a lot of promise. And if you're looking for kind of like a modernized take on the old school roguelike design, then I would say keep your eyes on this one. But again, this is a hard game, and if you are looking for something that's a little bit lighter, this one may not fit the bill for you. But with that said, we played this again during the early access, basically like week 1 that it came out. So I'm sure the developers are doing playtesting, balancing, and a lot since then. And I know they're going to be adding in more story elements, events, and things that can happen in the coming months. So there's definitely a lot here. And when the game is closer to being released, or if we have some spare time, I would like to jump back in and see how things go. But with that said, we're going to wrap up this first look here. Thank you for tuning in. Again, check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Until next time, this has been Stoneshard, and have a great night.